Your immune system is one of the most complicated things in the universe, right up there with the human brain. And yet, most of us, we have basically no idea how it works. Well, we're going to change that. I want you to think of it like this massive, organized army, complete with its own soldiers, its captains, and even intelligence officers, all fighting a war for you, 24/7. So let's watch what happens at the very first moment of an invasion. So picture this. It all kicks off with something super simple. Maybe you're just walking outside and you get a tiny little cut on your thumb. For you, it's nothing, just an annoyance. But on a microscopic level, for the billions of cells in your body, it's an absolute catastrophe. It's a full-blown alien invasion.
And just like that, bang, their world explodes. The wall that protects them is torn open. The wound becomes this massive gateway for countless bacteria, tiny invaders just pouring in. They're here to explore, to steal your resources, and to destroy everything in their path. And immediately, your dying and injured cells start screaming out chemical alarm signals. The first ones to answer that call? The macrophages. Now, to give you some scale here, if an average cell in your body was the size of a person, a macrophage would be the size of a black rhino. These are the huge, stoic, heavy hitters on the front lines. And they live for one thing and one thing only, to consume invaders.
And how they fight, it's just brutal and incredibly effective. A macrophage will stretch out these arm-like parts, kind of like tentacles, grab onto bacteria, and just swallow them whole. It digests them alive. It's an absolute massacre. A single one of these rhinos can devour up to 100 bacteria before it's totally exhausted and has to tap out. But okay, there's a huge problem. In this invasion, we're not talking about hundreds of bacteria. We're talking thousands, maybe even millions. Our rhinos, as powerful as they are getting completely overwhelmed. They are losing this battle. They have to call for reinforcements, and they need them now. So who picks up that chemical distress signal? The neutrophils. And these guys, they are not stoic guards. Oh no. They are intense, almost fanatical, suicide warriors that exist for the sole purpose of killing. In fact, they're so ridiculously enthusiastic about it, they actually kill themselves after a few days so they don't accidentally start destroying your own body. The second they hit the scene, it is just pure chaos. I mean, they're literally vomiting deadly chemicals at the bacteria. They're devouring enemies carelessly, which, causes a lot of collateral damage to your own healthy cells. Some even hit their own suicide button, exploding to cast these wide toxic nets made from their own DNA, just to trap and kill even more enemies. And here's the crazy part. You can actually feel this microscopic war happening. That's what inflammation is. Your thumb swells up. It gets all red and warm to the touch. That feeling? That's your blood vessels opening up wide, flooding the battlefield with all these reinforcements and supplies. So, we're at a real turning point here. This first, brutal, chaotic line of defense, it might be enough. But if the invaders are just too strong or there are too many of them, they will eventually overwhelm your forces. And if that happens, well, that means certain death for you, the human. This is where things get smart. Brute force isn't enough. It's time for the dendritic cell. Now, this isn't another soldier. This is your immune system's intelligence officer. While everyone else was busy bashing heads, this cell has been quietly moving through the battlefield, collecting intel. The dendritic cell's mission is absolutely critical. It collects samples of the enemy by literally ripping bacteria into little pieces and then wearing those pieces on its surface. It then leaves the battle, hops onto this thing called the lymphatic superhighway, and travels to your immune headquarters, the lymph nodes. And it's on a single vital quest to find the one perfect commander cell that knows how to fight this specific war. So the dendritic cell gets to headquarters and starts presenting its intel, basically rubbing itself against T cell after T cell, asking, is this your guy? How about this guy? Most aren't interested, but after a few hours of searching, something clicks. A helper T cell recognizes the bacteria parts. It's a perfect match. And just like that, the second, much more advanced line of defense is activated. And it all starts with just one One single, unique helper T cell that holds the perfect strategy, the perfect weapon, against the very specific type of bacteria that has invaded you. And then, that single cell starts to copy itself, again and again and again. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8, until there are thousands of them. An entire army of specialists, all of them ready to go and direct this war. Meanwhile, back at the wound, things are getting desperate. Imagine a macrophage. It's been fighting for days. It's exhausted. It's ready to just give up. But then, the first wave of helper T cells arrives. They don't fight directly. They just whisper these chemical orders. And in a heartbeat, that demoralized soldier feels this hot, white anger. It knows exactly what to do. Kill.
At the same time, a different team of helper T cells is off activating the other elite force, the B cells. And you can think of these as your body's living weapons factories, designed to produce these amazing protein superweapons called antibodies.
Once the right B cell gets activated, it also starts cloning itself, creating an army of little factories, and each one starts pumping out antibodies at a speed that is just mind-blowing. A single B cell can produce up to 2,000 antibodies every single second. Now, building up an arsenal like this, it takes time, right? But about a week after you first got that tiny cut, the cavalry finally arrives in full force. We're talking billions of custom-designed antibody superweapons flooding the battlefield, ready to completely turn the tide. And the second they arrive, the effect is just incredible. The antibodies swarm the invaders, pinching them, stunning them. They basically act like billions of tiny handcuffs, clumping all the bacteria together so they're completely unable to move or fight. And now, your re-energized macrophages and neutrophils can just move in and massacre the defenseless victims. The battle is turning. The battle is won, and as the last of the enemy is being cleaned up, something truly remarkable happens. The job is done. So most of the cellular army, the neutrophils, the T cells, the B cells, they all kill themselves. It's a way to save resources, a clean, incredibly efficient end to the war. But not all of them die. A few of the veteran T cells and B cells, they stick around. They become what we call memory cells. And they will stand guard in your body for years, sometimes for the rest of your life, making sure that this specific type of bacteria can never get a foothold in your body again. This, right here, this is immunity. And then one day you wake up, you glance at your thumb, and the wound is gone. Maybe there's a faint red mark, but that's it. You were completely, totally unaware of the epic drama that just unfolded inside you. For you, it was a minor annoyance, but for millions of your cells, it was a desperate, all-consuming fight for their very survival. Every single day, your body is a battlefield. This particular war was won, and won decisively. But it really makes you think, doesn't it? What other invisible wars is your body fighting and winning for you right this very moment?